Hello, ladies. Can you guys hear me? Happy Friday. Okay. Happy Friday, everyone. So I just want to come on for like a little bit. Not going to stay on here very long to talk about the Woman King. In the last live that I did, I said I was going to do a live talking about the Woman King, my thoughts on it. I'm not going to give any spoilers. And also just a lot of the reaction that I've been seeing to the movie, particularly from Black men, and how a lot of them are very, I guess, upset about this movie. They're obviously not supporting it, they're not trying to watch it, and just exploring that for a little bit. So, first things first is I'll just start off by saying that the movie, to be honest, in my opinion, I thought it was really good. Now, I know that there were a lot of Black women who didn't really like this movie coming out just because it had, Black women looking masculine. Obviously, Black women are picking up swords and being warriors and fighting men. And that is just not the image that Black women in 2022 want to have casted onto them in everyday life. But the fact of the matter is from my understanding, there was a real, the homie Amazons, all female warrior group during this time, which is in a part of Africa that is now modern day Benin, Benin. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but this is where this movie takes place, and it's based off of true events. So I know that we don't really want the image of looking masculine and looking like fighters, but at the end of the day, there were African female warriors or African women who participated in learning the skill of fighting in war. There were African female leaders in ancient African history. If you guys want to look up one of them, her name is oh gosh, her name is Queen Nzinga. I do not know how to pronounce. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing this right, but Queen Nzinga ruled over Africa from, they're estimated like 1583 to 1663. She was the queen. Which is in an area that is present day northern um, Angola, Angola, excuse me. And she was a ruler. She received military training and political training as a little girl, and she demonstrated, you know, diffusing political crises and all that stuff with the Portuguese Empire. So the ideal of there was African women in leadership during these times, that is true. Okay, and they practiced fighting. Okay, so this, I know us Black women today, soft life and all of that stuff is like what Black women are now adapting to, and luxury and traditionalism and femininity. But the fact of the matter is, there were African women that did not fit that image and were the complete opposite. They fought or learned how to fight at least, and learned how to use a sword and weren't afraid to use it, and were also leaders in the community, instead of the traditionalism that we see today that a lot of Black women are trying to adhere to. So that's what I didn't understand, the outrage that a lot of people, both Black men and women, had towards this film. Like they're mad, like it was historically just not true. Like there were never African female warriors, never African women that were in leadership. And there were. Okay, there were. It just is what it is. So, seeing a lot of the Black men have this angry a lot of anger towards this film being created. And a lot of the commentary that I heard from Black men was that it makes Black masculinity look weak or pretty much non-existent. Like, for the ones that haven't seen this movie, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but for the Black men that haven't seen the movie, they're thinking that it has to do with a Black man no longer being king or getting defeated, maybe, or just somehow the Black male king is being weakened. That, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to give spoilers, but that is not what happens in the movie. That's not how I interpreted it at all. Instead, it was more so, um, without giving spoilers, it was more so just honoring the strong woman of this African village. And that's all that it is. And the term woman king is just a resemblance of that. It's not a term that was used to take down the Black king and Black male leadership. So I don't really know why the Black men on here are saying that's what this movie is about. It is not. It has this movie really, after I watched it, it has nothing to do with taking Black male leadership down. It has more to do with dismantling negative and harmful Black male leadership, but really any type of leadership that involved hurting people of the village in a negative way or whatever. So, like, I understand the outrage a lot of Black men had maybe towards the color purple, because that was a fictional movie and all the Black male leaders in that movie looked horrible. So I can understand if they were outraged at that. But this movie is nowhere near like on some color purple stuff. Not even close. Not even close. Um, the Woman King is about African, advancement in the most best possible way. And whether it's a woman in charge who's strong and knows what to do, or a man who's in charge, strong and knows what to do, doesn't matter. It's about making sure that all Africans, are doing what they're supposed to do for their village. That's what I got from the movie majority. Like, I'm not trying to spoil it, but that's what I got from the movie. So seeing all this commentary of Black men upset about the Woman King and not wanting to support it, and considering it another attack on Black men is ludicrous to me. Because why is it that when Black women want to create stories or depict any part of history where Black women were leaders and strong, and doing so in these non-traditional gender role type of ways, why is it that Black men see that as an attack? And there was one commentary I was watching on the Woman King by a Black male YouTuber, and he basically said something that, to be honest, I agreed with what he was saying. He was telling Black men to stop crying over this film, It is not a Black woman's fault that she's able to create a storyline or of any kind that makes her look good and as well get supported by other Black women. He was basically saying if Black men want this type of representation, they're going to have to create it for themselves, just like Black women do. Black women go out and participate in this media, this art, whatever type of works they're trying to do, they promote it and other Black women choose to support. Like, how many Black male led projects get as much support by Black men? That don't involve rapping, that don't involve some form of degeneracy or community dismantling. Those are like the only things I see Black women, I mean, I'm sorry, I see Black men promoting the most. Things like future, stuff like that, sports and all that stuff. But when it comes to true history, real art, something that's, created in a special way, that doesn't feed the same old that Black men love to consume. Those special things created by Black men don't receive as much support. So when Black women come out and we participate in these roles that depict history of us as strong warriors, which is true, there were strong African female warriors. And when Black women today want to recreate that history and show it to the world, that is not, it is not our responsibility to make Black men look strong within that. It's our responsibility to create and do things to show our story. And from our lens as Black women, we have that right, just like any other group has that right. And if Black men don't want to participate in that for themselves, that's just no one else's problem, not Black women, not the white man who owns the studio, whatever. It's nobody else's problem. So, that has to be acknowledged. Like, if these Black men are going to come on here and complain about what Black women are doing in society, in the media, you need to also sit back and realize, what are you doing in your world? Okay, don't come for sisters who are actually putting in work, who are doing the marketing, who are doing the storytelling, who are doing the hard work. That we're allowed to do that. We can do that. And that brings me back to a lot of the studies that have been done, depicting that Black girls and Black boys are both raised in the same type of households, but yet we see Black women as the ones who grow to excel more than Black men. Why is that? That was also in the Moynihan report. Remember when I pulled up the Moynihan report, months ago at this point on my channel, and even back then in the 1960s, they had a scholarship program, and overwhelmingly for Black students, and overwhelmingly the people who entered into that scholarship program were Black girls. And even when the principal tried to encourage Black boys to enter into the program, I mean, actually went out of his or her way to get Black boys into this program, it just couldn't happen. The Black boys just weren't interested. So it's no one else's fault that Black boys and Black men are not seeing the representation that they need, aren't getting the resources that they need. Are Black men and boys even supporting things like this that could be created for them? Are they even participating in opportunities to create things like this? Because Black women sure are. Black women are taking the opportunity to do the work, get in the arena, and then decide to tell their stories of ancient African female warriors, of ancient African queens, of Disney, Black Disney cartoons or whatever. The Little Mermaid movie. I was gonna do something. I was gonna speak on that, on the Little Mermaid, as well. Me personally, when it comes to the Little Mermaid, I am gonna watch the movie. I particularly prefer movies like this, The Woman King. It's an original, um, with Black female woman leading it. The Little Mermaid is not an original. The Little Mermaid is an originally white little girl story. The man who wrote this is Danish, I believe, or he's somewhere over there, somewhere in Europe. So the Little Mermaid was not written for Black girls. Okay, just is what it is. However, movies like The Woman King, this movie is historically true, number one, and it was done to show the world something, but it was definitely done for Black women to show us some things too. I mean, Black women are in it, Black women were leading it. But The Little Mermaid, Halle Bailey is a good actress and a good singer regardless, so she definitely deserves this part. But when The Little Mermaid first came out with Halle Bailey, I did not think of this as some kind of political agenda of any kind, I guess. Like I didn't make it about, oh, finally somebody black and blah blah blah. Like that wasn't my reaction. And it wasn't until I started seeing the commentaries, I was like, oh, people are making this about diversity and inclusion instead of about she was just a good actress who's a great singer who got the job. Like that's how I was looking at it because in my mind I'm putting womanhood, skills, character and culture first. I'm not really thinking about this was done as a diversity inclusion project, which is, the more you celebrate it because it's black, the more you make it seem indirectly that this is a diversity inclusion project. And I don't want, that's just my personal thing, to be honest. I'm sorry. But I'm gonna watch The Little Mermaid. I'm happy for Halle Bailey that she got into this role. And I'm really excited to see her in this. But I support original stories created by Black women or depicted by Black women for Black women and for the rest of the world to see. I'm supporting that first and foremost before I support or explicitly show support for stories created by white people for white people. But now finally in 2022 we get a Black version. Like I'm not really, I'm not really, I prefer for us to create our own stuff. That's just me. But anyway, that's what I see, however, as the main difference that Black women are doing that a lot I don't see a lot of Black men doing is the creation of our own stuff. And advocating at least advocating for us to be represented. Like I just said, I'm always going to be for us creating our own things, but when it comes for even being represented in something else, who do we see advocating for that the most? We see a lot of Black women doing that. We see a lot of Black women just in the streets doing these social media campaigns of wanting to be represented more than we see Black men doing. In my opinion, let me know if let me know if I'm incorrect in my observations, but this is what I've observed. So when it comes to the Black male outrage of this, is it valid? Is there a point to why the Black men are upset? Really, what I see when I see them mad about stuff like this is that they're just upset that there's a depiction of a Black woman looking strong and a Black man not included in that. Even though, as I just said, I watched the movie, and in my opinion, there was no depiction of weak, quote unquote, weak Black men. In my opinion, I'm not trying to give any spoilers, but once you watch this movie, I don't know how you can think that Black men are weak in this movie compared to other movies, such as like the Tyler Perry movies, where they have, and though in Tyler Perry movies, Black men always look like the weak villain who can't control himself, who's always doing something crazy, strung out on crack and all kinds of stuff in Tyler Perry movies. But in this movie, it's not that vibe, not nowhere even near it. So it's funny to me because they're boycotting Women King, and the people that have actually watched the Women King are just like, for what? Why are you boycotting this movie? Black men actually don't look, out of all the movies done of them in 2022, in my opinion, they look good in this movie as far as how they carry themselves in terms of leadership. I mean, of course, you have the bad guy, but even the bad guy showed strong leadership, not leadership that I would support, or obviously the rest of the characters in the movie support, but he showed leadership nonetheless. Like he led an army, he led stuff. He was just the bad guy doing it from the wrong reasons, and he, didn't make it in the end. So, but this was a good movie. I recommend you see this movie. And I'm not even gonna, like, when I heard Black women mad that this makes Black women look masculine, I didn't even take that into any real I didn't even really accept that because this is a part of history. There were real female African warriors and or African women who learned the art of war, who learned how to fight with a sword. So, what are you mad about? Like, are you mad about the truth? Like, are you mad about like the facts? Because I don't know that's just real. To be honest, respectfully, that's real ignorance to me. Like, this actually happened. Like, I'm not saying this the movie in general, I'm saying this depiction of African female leadership and African female expertise in the art of war, that was real. Okay, whether you like it or not, whether you don't want to be represented this way in 2022, you don't have to, but to sit here and be mad over the truth and over the history and reality is ignorant, respectfully. It kind of is. So you're not, just because this is out and just because this is a part of history, obviously, it's not what we as Black women have to be today. We like we don't have to by choice, and we don't have to because literally society is set up for you not to be this way in general. So you don't have to subscribe to this masculine caricature that is in this movie, but to be upset in general that it's in existence. And honestly, like, why? This happened whether you like it or not. So that was like I was watching another black female YouTuber. I wouldn't say she's really in BWE. She's more of a pro blacker. But she was talking about the Woman King, and she did a live on how it's horrible for the black woman's image and blah blah blah. And it's just like, this is a historical movie. All right. Nobody is really going to be out here looking at black women in 2022 um, like they do with these African female warriors depicted from like 600 years ago. Okay. Nobody's doing that because people live in modern times, people live in reality. Therefore, they're not going to look at you like this. They understand it's a historical movie. They understand slavery existed. The transatlantic slave trade was a real thing. And so they can differentiate between modern black people today and black people depicted in movies from 600 years ago. So don't sit here and think, "Oh my god, this is going to make us look more masculine. Oh my god, we want to live in black girl luxury." You still can, sis. It's just these are just historical facts. So live your life, but this still happened, and that is what it is. And I don't know the team behind The Woman King exactly, like who wrote it and who all this other stuff. Let me try to look that up because I know the people behind The Woman King had to have been black, right? I mean, it just makes sense. It just makes sense. How can I find this? But it just makes sense that the people behind the movie producing, directing, or whatever could be black. I don't know for sure. Again, I don't know for sure. Okay, so the director is a black woman. The writers, one of the writers is a white woman. She did the screenplay. And the storyline woman, I guess she's also white. Wow. Damn, y'all. So I'm just now looking at this right now. The director of The Woman King is black. The two writers involved are white, but with an all black cast and everything. So that's interesting. That is interesting. And I didn't know that. So I just looked it up. That is so interesting that two white women wrote the storyline and screenplay for The Woman King, however, directed by a black woman. So very interesting. I think I'm going to have to I think I'm going to have to dissect that a little more. I'm going to have to dissect if these two white women wrote this story in the terms of or in their mind, they were writing it in the terms of, um, like, allyship for Black women in our history, this part of history, or what, but this is very interesting. I think you can say a lot about that. But anyway, I think, regardless of all those particulars, this is a story displaying a lot of strength from Black women. And if you actually watch it, I don't see how it displayed any weakness in Black men. Instead, it definitely showed some strength. It showed some Black male recognition of a Black woman. And if men on here want to be mad about that, that just proves everything that all the Black women in this particular space have been talking about. Just the anti-Blackness, the the hatred that Black men have with just seeing Black women in some form of a leadership role, especially if the leadership was positive. None of the Black women in this movie, again, not trying to spoil, but none of the Black women in this movie emasculated Black men in any way, compared to, once again, Tyler Perry movies and all these other movies. Tyler Perry, by the way, a Black man, right? And he creates crazy storylines that involve Black men looking crazy, right? So that's not in this movie, in my personal opinion of watching this. It's not. So the Black male rage is, it's a major sign of ignorance, honestly. It makes more sense if you're gonna have a rage, it makes more sense to have that rage at The Color Purple than The Woman King. Because back when The Color Purple came out, my dad told me that, because that movie came out, what, like in the 80s or something, right? My dad told me that Black men were on the same type of tune. They did not want to watch The Color Purple. They basically had a strike against it too. And so when I told my dad, like, I've been seeing things online for about Black men saying the same thing about Woman King, he was just like, well, that makes sense because of The Color Purple. So, but even in my dad's opinion, also a Black man, it ain't nothing like The Color Purple, The Woman King, as far as how Black men are depicted. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why there's outrage around this movie. I don't get it. From Black men and women. I think this movie was really, really good. Viola Davis did amazing. Hey Mokomami, Mokomami says, I have yet to see the film. I'm really proud of Viola Davis for taking on this role at 56. Yeah, she did amazing. And she had to work hard and train really hard for this film as well. And I'm really, really happy for her. And all the other Black women in this movie was just amazing. They were just beautiful and wow, like it was, whew, the movie was just really, really good. I mean, just the acting, it was all so good. So good. And you guys have just got to you got to see it if you haven't seen it. I'm sure it'll come out on like Amazon Prime or whatever soon, you know? So it's fine if you want to wait till then, but either way, just watch it cuz it's an amazing it's an amazing movie to me. And me saying this does not mean that I support, Black women looking masculine and more roles where Black women looking masculine. But, first of all, I love history. That was my favorite subject in school. So if any type of roles where Black women are involved in their own stories or depicting their own history, I mean, is what I would like to see. You don't get to see lots of movies like this where it's history involving Black women that look unambiguously Black, like a lot of movies that depict the history of Black women. The woman looks a little bit ambiguous, lighter skinned, or whatever. But this movie depicted everything perfectly, in my opinion. I would see this movie. I would see it. Hi, Ariana, the beautiful Aries. Welcome. Yeah, I got a lot of new subscribers. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. My channel is growing because I like to keep it real over here, man. You've been on my channel for a while. It's facts over feelings. Over here, we keep it real. We really want to talk about things and be honest. Black Widow Rose says, I watched this movie and it was a hit in my book. I loved it. Yes, right? It was so good. This movie was so good. That's why I don't get the outrage, especially from other black women. When I heard other black women saying this makes us look masculine, it makes us look this and that, it's just like, are you serious? This movie is based in historical facts. Like, hello, hello, facts over feelings. Like African women being queens and learning the art of war actually happened. African women were not living the soft life. I mean, come on, a lot of them were not. Especially if they were skilled, they were not. If they were skilled, they did stuff. They didn't have the black girl luxury and the soft life, a lot of them. Some did, back for what luxury looked like back then. Some had it, but a lot didn't, and a lot learned how to work hard and do things. You know what I'm saying? So that's okay. Like we when it comes, because I let's okay, we're gonna have a conversation at some point about black girl luxury and soft life because number one, I'm all for it. That's just first and foremost. I live a soft life my doggone self, and I'm like I'm still under 30 doing my thing, and I would say I have created a soft life for myself. I'm not stressed. I work out, I cook my own meals, and I eat good food. I have amazing girlfriends. My man is amazing. He gives me fresh flowers every time he sees me. So, I have a soft life. It's how I like it. Now, I'm not saying I'm jet setting and having Birkins and all that stuff, but it's soft, as in it's peaceful. It's humble to me. It's nice. It's smooth. It makes me feel comfortable. I'm well rested, like I'm not freaking out every 5 seconds over anything. Like I feel good. Like this is a very happy life that I have. And that's what soft life is for me. I mean, obviously, with any of these things, we can all define what that is, but that's just my ideology of a soft life. Like it's stress free, but at the same time, you're not lazy. At the same time, you're not idle. You have things you're doing that you enjoy. It's not causing you stress. You're producing something, but it makes you happy and you're feminine and you're not, doing the most. So that is like my soft life, and I have that for myself. So, there were a lot of black women during these times, African black women that had that for what it looks like, and then there were other ones who didn't. But there's still, even today, going to be a lot of women that aren't going to be able to have a black girl luxury life or have a soft life, all right? And a lot of this, if you really want to get technical, a lot of this has to do with the society we live in. We live in a capitalistic society. So in capitalism, there tends to be, at some point, there's probably going to be a bottom shelf group of people in a capitalistic society. It's weird because in capitalism, people can win. A lot of people can win in their own way, but you can also have a lot of losers. And you can have a lot of losers for all kinds of different reasons. From the fact that they got hurt, they didn't have any help, whatever. And then you have people who participate in capitalism and win, and they have this rags to riches story. Then you have the opposite, people who are in capitalism and winning because they got something for free. They got a handout early on in life, whatever. So that's kind of just the reality, and that's kind of where I'm seeing this type of history is that there's African women that had that soft life and there's African women who didn't. And there's African women who different things brought them peace and made them happy. And there's a lot of African women back in these times who were taught the art of war and liked it. They liked picking up a sword. They felt powerful and strong as a woman picking up a sword. So that was also real too. What we have to make sure is that if we're going to promote soft life and Black girl luxury, we have to allow room for other Black women to define what that looks like. We can't all say Black girl luxury means you have a Birkin and red bottoms. For some other Black women, it's not a Birkin, it's not red bottoms. Maybe it's a paid off credit card. Maybe it's a vacation. Well, but she has on Forever 21 shoes head to toe, but she's in a luxury resort. Like Black girl luxury can be different in all kinds of ways. So we need to make that clear too. Tired of the World says, I think you're right. The Black Manosphere would claim we are masculine regardless of this movie being out there or not. It is history, not the case for all African women, but this particular group. Yes, this particular group for sure of African women, this particular, empire, and my opinion, or not my opinion, but what I have read, is that the Dahomey Empire grew to be really, really big, and they became a major source of slaves during the slave trade. And the real history behind it is that they wanted to end slavery or the slave trade with the Europeans, only to keep those slaves working within the Dahomey Empire to make them even bigger. They didn't really want to end slavery because it was the right thing to do and let's free the people. Like that wasn't really the case for a lot of African tribes. At some point, the African tribes still wanted to make slaves out of their prisoners and captives, but they just didn't want to trade them to the Europeans. That's what I've read. So if I'm wrong, then okay, but that's the historical sources that I have read. Um, and slavery started really with prisoners and captives. That those were the types of slaves that got traded first and foremost, where people were the African prisoners and whatnot. Aqua Rose says the story behind the Woman King was, as Viola described it in her GMA interview, saddened me because this woman tribe was forced to become soldiers, or they would have died. It's sad. You know what? That is so interesting. You say this comment, Aqua. I didn't know this myself, so I'm not saying you're wrong at all. But, and I know I didn't want to put any spoilers, but your comment in this scenario of a woman being forced to be a soldier or else is in the movie. So that's also probably why Viola Davis even said it, because it actually it's in the movie. So it is part of history. There are women, yes, who were forced because they had another option, to do something else. They didn't want to do it. And so they fought or died. And it's not like died like they would have been intentionally hunted and killed because they didn't fight exactly, but they would have died as in they wouldn't have been able to survive. So they would have died from like natural circumstances. So to avoid those natural circumstances, you were better off being a warrior and being in this all female regime. So this comment is in the movie. I'm not trying to spoil it because you're commenting it, and Viola Davis said it herself, so this can't be a spoiler, so don't come for me. But it's accurate. This is very much so accurate comment. So but I love this movie. It was God, it was so good. I'm here for Black women representing themselves, fact or fictional stories, history in movies, but especially when it's an original that we created. So let me just transition to the Little Mermaid. I love this for her. Okay? I love this for her. But what I'm saying is The Little Mermaid is a white girl story originally. Even historically, when it was written in the 1800s, it was written by a white man for little white girls. Okay, this is not an originally Black woman story. So That is why I am not celebrating The Little Mermaid as much, me being very pro Black woman, because my pro Black womanness means that I support when Black women create, star in, direct, original content created for us, by us, no no debate, period. Point blank, period. You know what I'm saying? The Little Mermaid, guys, this is my opinion. Y'all can be mad if you want, but honestly, this seems to me like a diversity and inclusion project. Okay. Now, at first, I actually didn't think it was. I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's Halle Bailey." She be making me want to say Halle Berry. Halle Bailey, she's talented. She's a great actress and she has an amazing voice. No debate there, right? No one's debating that. I'm debating that this story was not created for us. I'm offering up a different perspective that since Holly Bailey is such an amazing singer, an amazing actress, we could have used her in a live action children's movie created originally for Black girls and other women of color. Because then let's also be clear, Halle Bailey is not like a dark skinned Black girl. Okay. She can show up somewhere and claim to be Afro Latina. She's a little bit of a lighter tone, lighter shade of a brown. You know what I'm saying? So I saw the little reaction videos of the kids and stuff, right? There was other little Hispanic girls reacting to her. So she can be easily associated and related to by like other groups of little girls that aren't black but maybe look back black or just ambiguously like a woman of color, right? So once again, let's be clear. There's nothing wrong with Haley Halle Bailey. I give up. I'm just going to say her. There's nothing wrong with her being a mermaid. I'm saying that if we want to have cartoons for little Black girls, let's create them ourselves. Let's not be so gung ho on um celebrating when white people accept us into their stories by creating these diversity and inclusion projects. We need to train our little Black girls to know that stories created by us are just as valuable versus the stories that were created by white people. And I'm not racist. Okay, I have a niece that is half white. I'm not racist. I'm saying that if this is such a big deal, for little Black girls to be represented, then create our own stories for them. What is wrong with that? There's so many Black creatives. There's literally so many. We don't need to be celebrating this so much and make this a huge thing, and or just even waiting for when stuff like this happens. Let's create our own cartoons for our little Black girls to watch and feel loved and represented. Right, and if in the event that there are Black cartoons created for little Black girls, let's really hype it up and support it so that these little Black girls aren't thinking, "Oh, well, it's not as popular as Beauty and the Beast. It's not as popular as the original Little Mermaid." So, they'll naturally not take their little cartoons seriously because it's not supported as much as the white cartoons are supported. So that is like how I'm looking at this, you know what I mean? But, this is just me. This is just me in my opinion of The Little Mermaid. I just think this one's a little better. I just think it would be better if we had original cartoons created by Black people or by Black women for us instead of us waiting for the white man to be nice and include us in his stories. That's just me. I'm just that pro Black woman that's what I want. But I am still going to watch this. I still want to see the live action movie. Not saying that she doesn't deserve this role at all. I'm just saying the celebration of this needs to be carried on with original Black cartoons for, Black children. That's what I'm saying. Buzz the doll said, "Oh my god, just told my white man I'm not watching it, Woman King. I almost threw up." I mean, you know, I was just talking about this earlier, it a lot of Black women don't like that it about they don't like the masculine-ness that is in The Woman King, but it's a good movie, and it's historically true. So, but what do you guys think? Reminds me of Friday Day. What do you guys think about this? Teal says definitely, and I think white people use this as an excuse to continuously whitewash characters anyway, because it seems we're going to defend all representation as long as they 30% or more black. Yeah, again, she is not a unambiguous black woman. Haley is a little bit of a lighter shade of brown. She is not the same color as like Viola Davis or these undeniably black girls. So she can be easily identified with other groups of women that are like other women of color instead of just black girls. So I think they wanted a woman of color in this role because we already know there's plenty of really black, I mean, really chocolate sisters that can blow, like that can sing, honey. Okay, that could have played this role, but they chose, Haley. Damn, Haley. They chose Haley. Is her name Haley or Hallie? Am I tripping? Like I've been seeing her name Hallie. Hallie Bailey. Where am I getting Haley from? um Hallie. Okay, they are putting her in this movie. She looks a little bit more like she can relate to a lot of black girls. This is kind of like the Zendaya thing. I've heard this brought up as well with Zendaya, that Zendaya will take on roles representing like a black woman, but Zendaya is biracial, right? And she's still very relatable to other women of color and comfortable around, other white people. Casting chocolate sisters for a role that you want chocolate sisters to feel represented in, that's what needs to happen. She got to be a chocolate sister. She can't be like, I mean, if that's your target audience, I mean, if you want chocolate sisters to feel represented, you got to have a chocolate sister in the movie. And I think Chrissy, the YouTuber Chrissy, has talked on this a lot, and she has told black women that if you're a chocolate sister and these lighter skinned girls are getting casted, maybe you should not be so don't be under the impression that they're representing you, because technically they're not. They look nothing like you. You guys may share um some DNA that comes from the black race, but that's about it. The look isn't there. She's still mixed, she's still biracial, she's still of lighter skin, and she's still, more comfortable to non-black people and just other people of color that aren't black. So, I think she is perfect for the role nonetheless. That's all I'm saying. Nothing wrong with her in this role. She's talented, she's a great singer, all of that. But I want the celebration from like black women to be really hype when we create our own stories for our black little girls. That is all I'm saying. We can cast whoever we want. We can do whatever we want. We can create any type of character and any type of story. Mokamami says, Halle Bailey has been working with the Disney Network for close to a decade. They asked her to audition after her song Cool People was released in 2018. It was a relational business move. This is true as well. She has been at Disney for a long time. Uh, I definitely agree. She is very talented regardless. So, again, I'm not coming for Halle Bailey in this role. She deserves it. She's created those relationships. Also, she has the talent. She is there. They asked her to audition. I'm talking about what Black women are doing and how we're celebrating this. Celebrate her anyway, but keep in mind that we still need we should not forget about the importance of creating special and original movies for our Black girls. Let's not have all this hype only when these white people create these stories and we finally get representation. Let's have this hype when we create these stories for us, for our little girls to feel like princesses. Because there are plenty of Black creatives out there that do this. I see Black creators all the time. I make sure that I like, that I support, that I share, or whatever. I don't have any kids, so I don't have any, children to pass any of that stuff down to. But I share because I have girlfriends that do got kids. So I share it, I like it, and I do all of that. But I can't sit here and say that they get the same support as these roles that stuff like this. They don't get these same they don't get the same support. So I just want to throw that out there. Let's not forget that. Like, let's make sure that our little Black girls don't even believe they need to feel like they need to be represented because they have their own stories to go off of. That's what I'm saying. And so then if Black female actors and singers want to get out there, they're truly doing it without a shadow of a doubt because of their talent, because of their relationships, not doing it because they feel like they need to carry on the representation of the Black race. Like, let's not no, we're talking about putting womanhood first, right? Over your race, right? So that means even the things that you do, you're doing it because you're talented. You're doing it because you know it's who you know and it's your network. You're doing it for you because you're just the best. Let's not do things because we're carrying on a representation for a race because we shouldn't have to do that. If we're just all doing our best and if we're just all hyping up the things that we create equally and just as much as anything else, we'll feel represented in our own way, in our own stuff, from our own creations. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, she is really talented regardless. So is her sister Chloe Bailey. Now I'm gonna be honest with y'all though. I think we can all be honest here. Chloe Bailey has done some things in the media, right? I've seen some videos like that she's done on Instagram that I don't know. She's done some videos that have kind of looked like, a little bit. But her and her sister together are very talented, and I love them both together, right? And stuff like this that is happening with Black women, Woman King, which is a story, not a story. I keep saying story, but it's actual history that's being, depicted um, in a movie directed by a Black woman, written by a white woman, by the way, as far as like the script, the screenplay, those are written by white women, but an entirely unambiguously Black cast. That is what I like to see. Those from the ground up creations. We have that going on. And then we have talented Black women, such as Halle Bailey, who is um, getting these iconic roles to be um, chosen as the Little Mermaid. That is an iconic role, in my opinion, because the Little Mermaid is a very popular story amongst everybody. So this is an iconic role. So nonetheless, Black women going out there and doing the work and making their faces seen, making things known is what it seems to me these Black men seem to be upset about, which is why it's pure ignorance. right? It is pure ignorance. If black men had this type of if they have this type of energy, they wouldn't be complaining about what black women are doing. If black men had this type of energy, I don't even think they'd care because they'd have so much of their own stuff. They'd be so involved in their own crap. They wouldn't even care what movies we're putting out and how we're looking because they would have their own things happening, right? But let's also talk about, because this is what I saw recently of this guy. And people, okay, and people were feeling some type of way. And I'm just like, really? Y'all are feeling some type of way? Let me show y'all this because I know y'all have seen this. I know that you guys have seen this because just how could you not have seen it? Okay, so I know y'all have seen this, right? This, and he's in The Woman King. He plays the king in the movie. He said what he said. John, uh, God, Boyega makes his dating preference clear. I only date black. Okay. So I saw this. Once again, I didn't think anything of it. And it's not until you get online and see all this commentary that apparently it's a problem. Now, on my channel, because I do have a lot of new subscribers. So on my channel, I am best man for the job over here. I'm going to make that clear. All races of men, um, you can find dust in every community. And if you have standards and boundaries, then you get what you get from your standards and your boundaries. So that's just that. I particularly promote interracial dating for black women because it's just the least likely to happen. Black women, there's a lot of black women who want a relationship, who want to be married, and they're getting in their own way when they don't open up their options. So that is what I like to talk about when it comes to dating interracially. I know there's other channels that make dating interracially about how black men ain't this and black men ain't that. I'm not worried about all that stuff. Either way, no matter what black men are doing, black women are the least likely to date out. So, and there are also not a lot of black women who are married compared to other races of women that are married. And a lot of that has to do with black women not willing to date outside of their race. So, when I saw this, right, when I saw this article come up and him make this statement, right, melted. Well, since when did he date black girls? I've never even seen him date anybody. I've never even seen him date anybody, so I really wasn't even paying attention to that. But apparently, yeah, he only likes sisters and he wants chocolate sisters. Okay. He wants the real chocolate sisters, everything. He's not with the Zendayas and all of that. He wants a chocolate sister. And he himself is Nigerian, I believe. So that's another reason too. He wants to date within his culture. So I think he probably prefers to date African women. He is African himself. So once again, ain't nothing wrong with that. That's completely normal, especially for a lot of the Africans that I know. They do tend to date within their own African community, because they want to maintain the culture, right? So I did watch the interview though. Yeah, baby girl, you're right. He literally admitted in that same interview he's dated a white girl, so he was praising black women, but he also admitted that yes, he did. So he did in the interview admit that he dated one white girl, but he also did say, however, that he didn't take that relationship seriously. At least he did in that interview, and um, you know, Look, I mean, he said he's dated out, but at the end of the day, he wants a woman of his culture. And I saw a lot of other comments about this. I saw a lot of other tweets about this, that if this was a white man saying that he only dates white women, he would be a white supremacist and a racist. And there is a part of me that would be curious if there was a white man who came out and said that, what would the reactions be? And he probably would. A lot of people would get called a race, or a lot of people would call that white man a racist, because literally, also on my channel, I think what, a few days ago now, I talked about how that white guy went on 50 dates from 50 different states, and pretty much all the women were white except one girl who looked biracial, or she looked like could be Afro Latina. Um, but pretty much all the other girls were white. Literally 49 of the other women were completely white. And he basically did get called like a racist in one way or another. Women of color were coming for him because he didn't include other women of color in the majority of his choices in those girls for 50 dates. So it does make sense that if a white man were to make it clear that his preference are women that look like him, people would people would think that he's a racist, but it's not the same thing, to be honest. It's not the same type of perspective. Um, you know, yes, melted. It's not the same thing, though. It's quite normal to date within your race. Exactly. It's very normal to date within your race. I have said that before on my channel, that if you are a black woman upset about a non-black people's business that has nothing to do with you, they're doing their own thing, they're dating each other, they're loving each other within their same culture, and you're upset about that as an outsider of that culture, something is actually wrong with you, not the people that are in the same culture doing their thing. But this is the problem with why his statement has just been going through the interwebs, is because people are used to seeing black men of his status date out and date white women or date light skin. People just aren't used to seeing a black man of status make it clear to the world on a microphone that can reach anybody else in the world, making it clear that he not only wants a black woman, he wants a sister. A sister. What is that? That TikTok. Anyway, he made it clear that he wants a chocolate sister, a black woman. And people aren't used to even seeing black men of his status want a black woman or actually go out and announce that. And that is because, you know, all the other songs that black men make, and just other things that black men say themselves, that when he get on, he gonna leave you for a white girl. And when he get on, when he gets around successful white men, it's just easier for them to have a light skin or a white woman on his arm. Those are like expected now. I mean, it's said so much that now it's like expected. So anything that's different being said by the man of those same types of circles is really, really shocking to everybody. But melted, you're right. It's very normal to date within your race. And it just goes to show that a lot of people might have some deep rooted like anti-blackness. Okay? Because I see stuff like this even in BWE. I see some black women saying that, or shaming other black women for dating a black man. Maybe they just so happen to find one that they get along well with. They just so happen to find one that may not come from the best situation, but he's trying to be better too, just like her. And they just so happen to have a good relationship together, and actually mad at that. In my opinion, my man is white. All right. My man is white. But in my opinion, I don't have a problem with black couples laughing and hanging out at the park. I don't see that and get disgusted and be like, "Ugh." Like that doesn't bother me. Do you, boo? If it works for you, it works for you. Do you. I don't know that man. I don't know you. Y'all got it. Y'all can have it. Y'all got it. So this stuff like this is not gonna make me feel like, ugh, it's not even if a black woman said this, especially as black women, we already know that there's so many black women that are still strictly gonna date within their race. Like that if you're a black woman who dates out, it shouldn't be news to you when you hear another black woman say, I can only date a black man. Like that's not news to us, okay? That's normal, okay? We should know if you're a swirler, if you're a divester, that majority of black women are not the same. Like over 90%, almost not like well, a good 90% are not the same. This is even reflected in the marriage stats. 90% of black women who are married to black men. Now, can this change? Yes, it can change. So, it is what it is. Like stop shaming people for dating in their race. And I'm also seeing black men do the same. I'm seeing black men leave comments on these hypercritical of black women videos talking about, well, I found me a black woman and I love her and we have a beautiful family. She loves me, she treats me right and blah blah blah. He's also giving the same type of praise, and you see black men in the comments, "Well, good luck with that, it might end," and all this bitter, like, all of this weird, like, and then with that whole, passport bro stuff. I see other men in those comments talking about it's never that deep. I don't need to leave my country to find a wife. I can find one right here. You just need to go to the right places, travel the country more, and blah, 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 like vet better. And you have men, passport bros, and that man's comments talking about, well, you gonna be alone forever. These women are gonna die here. And just like, it's crazy, right? It's crazy how many people are just against um other people choosing to do what's actually normal. It's actually normal. It's not normal to leave the country to find a spouse. It's actually not normal to, you know, actively strictly date outside of your community and make that a preference as a person of color and say I don't date people of color as a person of color. Like that's not the majority of what people of color are saying and or thinking. And you need to acknowledge that. I think it's much more normal to say I want a good partner. It's much more normal to say I'm looking for someone with good character. It's much more normal to say those things than to just say I only want someone from out of the country. I only want someone who's light skinned. I only want someone like people who say things like that is kind of weird. It's kinda weird, and when I hear black women say, "I'm only dating white men," I'm like, that is kinda weird. I mean, it's weird because there's more men who are great that aren't white, and you're just canceling all of them out? Like, that's weird, okay? So, it's strange, but if we have a community of people that wanna date each other, that's not abnormal, guys. It's not abnormal at all. Nowhere even near abnormal. Aqua says it's normal for all people to date. Nothing is abnormal except for people who want to press their dating preferences on others. Yeah, I agree with that. It's normal for all people to date. It's normal for people to want to date because they want a good person in their life. That's a normal thing to do. And it's also normal if that just so happens to be within their own community majority of the time. Because I know everyone wants to make stuff like this seem like it's racism or something like that. But the reason why people can tend to still want to date within their own race or community doesn't have to be because of some anti blackness, anti whiteness, anti whatever. It can also just be because of proximity, environment, cultural values, how comfortable they are with someone within their community versus outside of their community, just their overall experiences. Like it has a lot to do with those things versus like reasons that are actually offensive and hurtful. Yeah, Michelle says Boyega has been sniffing around black women for years. He went on Kelly Ripa's show a few years ago telling her he loves Black women. This is what I've read as well, that he's been, advocating for, being with a Black woman. Like, he's dated out once, but at the end of the day, he wants to settle down with a Black woman. I don't see anything wrong with this. I think before you're married, you're dating around and you're doing different things, and at the end of the day, you still want what you want though. Like, you still have some kind of, I wouldn't say vision, but you still have some kind of a view of who you would like to end up with, right? Man or woman. Like, every man has his dream girl carved out, and every woman has the Prince Charming carved out. And some people just don't really grow out of that. Speaking of which, there was a TikTok I came across, right? It was a series of TikToks. So the first TikTok that I watched, I was like, "Oh, okay. That makes sense." But then when I started watching the follow-up TikToks, I was like, "Wait a minute. Something ain't right here," you know? I was like, "Something isn't right. Like, this sounds confusing. This is weird, and I don't understand." I'm gonna try to find that because I wanna show that to you guys right now, because it's interesting how some Black women are moving out here. When it comes to, once again, like I just said, like we all are acknowledging right now, it's normal, especially in this age of divestment and stuff like that, that majority of Black women just aren't gonna get along with it. They're gonna wanna date a Black man. They only want to be with a Black man. They want children that look exactly like them, and they believe that the only way you can get children to look like them is with a Black man, which in my opinion isn't true. If you are a melanated woman and you want melanated children, there are other non-Black melanated people. But hey, what do I know? God, where is it? It was a very it was a very interesting TikTok that this Black girl posted. She asked a question that I think is a valid question, right? But the rest of the TikTok she made after that, I don't believe made much sense. And it just caught me off guard for a second. Oh, here it is. Okay, let me oop, okay. Let me show this to you guys really quick, because this is another thing. So, on my channel, I am date whoever the hell you want. We're grown. Do what you want to do. Don't let an internet movement tell you what type of spouse you should choose and all that other crap. Okay? These internet movements don't know you from a hole in the wall. Please choose what you believe is best for you. And if anything, just have conversations, talk to other women, just gain knowledge and wisdom, but however, use your discernment. All right. There it is. So let me show you guys this, because this is this really kind of, this just annoyed me. Well, not this particular like TikTok or whatever, but really the TikToks after that. But I'm gonna show you guys this one just so you can understand, like get the context and whatnot.
committing to each other. So I just want to quickly go on here and say that I have finally experienced the difference between the dating culture in the black community versus the white community. And I say this because I've dated black man and a white man. And so I've been dating this black guy since March. It is now September. And every time I bring up us getting serious and finally committing to each other, he's always like, oh, we're still getting to know each other. Da, 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 da. I went on 2 dates with this white man, and on the third date, he asked me to be his girlfriend. On the third date, he was already planning vacation spots for us. On the third date, he was already planning holiday ideas for us to do. And to me, it kind of came off as a red flag just because I wasn't used to this. But I realized that dating doesn't have to be complicated. If you like someone, you like them, you guys start dating. I personally feel like by the third week, you should know whether or not you want me to be your girlfriend, but that's just me. But I want us to talk about why is it that black men tend to take so long to commit? Why? Let's talk about it. What is that? So I just want to quickly go on here and
You heard her question at the end of it. She was just like, why does it take so long for black men to commit, right? So from this TikTok, you're under the impression that she is starting to look elsewhere, date outside of her race. She was still dating a black man. She started dating a white man, and she just started noticing total differences. So you would think that this woman is, she's checking out, right? So let me show you guys some of the follow up TikToks she did. She gave kind of like an update um, on her dating experience in particular. She like made other TikToks addressing some of the comments of black women that were actually answering her question. But let me we're gonna talk about this one because this is annoying to me. Let me show y'all this one.
is not y'all want to know what's tea. I did put my business out on the internet, so I was totally expecting this. I definitely had to respectfully decline his request to be his girlfriend, but we're still gonna date and spend time with each other. Um, so yeah, that's the update. But girl, I don't even know where it's gonna go because he low key has a lot of baggage, and I just don't know if I could deal with it. So I'm gonna keep y'all updated if y'all are interested.
Okay, so okay, so you guys heard her little update, right? So her first TikTok, let's review. Her first TikTok, she was complaining damn near about how black men don't commit, goes on to date a white man. He asks her for commitment and she literally says no. Not only does she say no, but she brings up that he has too much baggage for her to deal with, right? So I thought this was I thought this was a little strange. I thought this was a little strange because you are complaining about how men from your own group don't commit. And that is a complaint a lot of black women have on here. That is an experience that I've had as well. You date out, get the commitment that that you say you were wanting maybe from the black man or at least expecting, hence why you're bringing it up, but didn't receive, and then you reject it from the white man, and then you bring up his emotional baggage, and then in my eyes, I'm just like, oh, I wouldn't even get to the point with any man who had too much of anything for me to deal with. I wouldn't even get to that point where he would be asking me for exclusivity because the way my vetting is set up, I find those things out early, and so I dip. I would never find those things out, remain there, wait for you to ask me for exclusivity, reject it, but then go on to say, "Oh, we can still hang out, we can still date." Like this is Am I tripping? Tell me I'm not tripping. I want black women to understand that if you want to be serious about opening up your options, keeping it real, being 10 toes deep, you cannot be this confusing. Like you cannot complain about what the men in your community are doing. Find exactly the opposite of that, which is what you say you want in another community, but it's not meeting your standards, and then you dip out. Now, if you're finding things elsewhere that's not meeting your standards, leave it alone. Don't keep don't please don't be that girl. Please don't be that girl that's blatantly wasting other men's time. This white man, although he has some baggage, according to her standards, right? Because there's certain women that what is baggage to you isn't considered baggage to her. So for her standards, right? Um, don't be that girl that you literally are going on here complaining about what you're not receiving from one area, go to another area, get that, reject it, and then still want to stay and play some games. Girls like this are the reason why good and committal men that actually want to settle down are starting to be like, well, like, what the hell? Like, we're spending all this time together. You want to keep spending time with me at that, but you don't want to commit? Like, what is going on? That's what I'm saying, like, she just wants attention from black men. This is what I thank you. This is exactly what I was feeling. I didn't know if I was crazy. I didn't know if I was gonna be able to put it into words correctly, but this is what I believe is going on too. Don't be that person that dates outside of your community just to be on some degenerate crap for whatever reason. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. You look crazy. There's black women out here that are genuinely looking for something real, that are genuinely wanting to settle down. They've lived a life where they've been abandoned, struggling. They want a healthy relationship. They want a healthy man. They want to actually have a healthy family that they weren't able to have for themselves. And they're trying hard to work on themselves and heal because they want to create that beautiful, soft life for themselves. And then you do have women like this that are playing games. Playing games. Am I tripping? Like this isn't okay to me because of all the stuff that we're saying in this space um as black women. Stuff like this make it all look like foolish. It's girls that are doing stuff like this. So she posts one more other video, and let me show you guys what she says in this one, because now I'm just looking at her like, okay. Like, all right. Um, like, because this is just too much. I can't. Let me try to make she posted a lot. Um, okay. So these are the type of I'm just showing y'all this because if we're gonna be on this topic of like announcing who you're gonna date and the normalcy surrounded around dating within your culture, that's fine. But don't be that girl. Don't be that girl where you know what you want, but you're still dabbling back and forth because that will have you out here kind of looking, to be honest, kind of just looking dumb. Sorry. You just are. You're not you don't know what you're doing. Girl, this is a really good question.
I have a list. And I know they be like, ooh, you're not going to meet someone who checks off everything on that list. Baby, I have a God who loves me and who will be listening to my prayers. And I believe that he's gonna give me a man who meets most, if not all, of the things that I want. And if I meet a guy who does, then I know that I'm ready to be in a relationship with him. And girl, sometimes we be thinking we want a relationship with a man, but we really don't. We don't. We just want somebody, like, especially in certain seasons, Valentine's Day, holiday seasons, you know you want to be with somebody. So you just have to evaluate where you are inside. There's definitely more that I want to go into, but I'm gonna just leave it like that for now. Who, girl? This is a loaded question. I have a list, and I know that.
Okay, so uh, I'm trying to find the one where she. Oy. So there was one. Sorry, guys, I'm like looking up at the same time. Only recommend black women that have a genuine attraction to non-black men to date out because these types of women end up breaking the hearts of non-black men after they discard them like toys. Yes. So there was a particular TikTok. There was a particular TikTok she did where she literally says basically that. She literally says that she just loves her a black man, and she's just dating like for fun. Oh my god, guys, she posted oh my god, we gotta watch this one because I was on her thing yesterday, so I didn't see this one. But who just said that in the chat? One of you guys just said it. Yes, you did. She's now the black male. So someone just came for her and a tick posted the same thing in the comments.
Something. I don't know if it's y'all or it's me, but there's clearly some form of misunderstanding that's happening. Somebody is missing something. I don't know if it's y'all or it's me, but there's clearly some form of misunderstanding that's happening. I said no to getting in a relationship with a white man after he asked me on our third date because I felt as though we didn't have the important conversations that would make me feel comfortable to get in a relationship with someone. After I told him no, I asked him, "Would you like for us to stop seeing each other?" And the man said, "No, I still want to spend time with you." And why would I say no to that? That doesn't make any sense. I'm not.
Okay, do you guys hear this nonsense? Am I tripping? Like she literally said the man has baggage. She's now saying I'm uncomfortable, yada yada, whatever. But then still asking him, do you want to still hang out though? And then she's like, oh, why would I say no to that? I'm sorry, but a mature and emotionally mature and just overall fulfilled woman is not going to spend time with a man that makes her uncomfortable, believes has way too much going on, she can't handle it. It's just not that deep. Why waste your time with that when you can say, this isn't working out for me, and you can go and find someone who actually does qualify all those, meet all those qualifiers for you. This is how this is how some women tend to block their own blessings because they're catering their time and their attention to men that they literally announce out of their mouths are not good enough for them, that they literally don't want, but they're still going to use and waste their own time. Like, don't get me wrong, I love being taken out. I love free gifts. I love all of that things, but I am not going to waste my time receiving those things from people that I do not think highly of. I'm going to be like, it's nice you want to give this to me, but it's going to take my entire interest out of the way. All right. It's like, are you going to be more excited to receive flowers from a man that you're actually interested in and ready to be with? Or are you going to be more excited, or at least same level of excitement, receiving flowers from your ex who cheated on you, did you dirty, that you now think ain't ish? Like, which type of man do you want to receive free flowers and gifts and stuff from? Okay, an insecure woman is gonna say, "Oh, Imma just take it all from everybody," knowing he hurt you, knowing you told the world he ain't ish, but he's giving you something free though, right? But a real woman is not gonna accept that. "I don't want no parts of you. You are not for me. I am moving on." And a real woman is only gonna have that, excitement for a man that she truly deems as valuable in her life. It's gonna make her feel better. Aqua says, "I think they are just using them for sex. Let's get real. Some women just want sex and nothing else." Aqua's absolutely right. This is so true. There are just some people that are, just using other people. They don't want anything else. The thing is, like, if you watch all of her other TikToks, however, this particular girl is saying how she, even the one I just showed y'all, this the other one before this one, she just said that God is gonna send her someone amazing, and God is this, and He's gonna bringing spirituality into it. Girl, I don't know what y'all think this is, but God is not a genie. He doesn't work like that. The type of God that I believe in, the type of just spirituality that I have, I believe that I actually have to put out good things, good energy, and good intentions into the world to receive it back, to receive it in return. That's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm crazy, but that's just what I believe. Okay? If you're ready to use someone, don't be surprised if you get used in return. And also don't be surprised if you end up getting the short end of the stick when it comes to what you really want at the end of the day. That's all I'm saying. Like, she's moving like this, expecting to still have her kingdom man walk in through the door and save her, and it really doesn't work like that. This man that you're rejecting is probably deep down inside is a kingdom man for all I know. I don't know. She says she got baggage, but to be honest, it's baggage for her. There is another woman out there, y'all, who will consider his baggage like, "That's it?" Like, there's other women out there that have truly been brought through the mud, put through the ringer, and will consider whatever baggage she's referring to as, like, nothing. Right? Especially for a man who's trying to commit, like, if he's serious and trying to commit whatever baggage he has, at least he's trying to better himself as a man. And you can't, get mad at that. And there's a lot of women that in their head, that's probably the man that they're looking for. There's women who are looking for a man who's been through some things, because being going through some things and correcting yourself, that does bring true character out. That does, you gain wisdom from that. And let's be clear, life is a journey, okay? You're not going to live a life going through anything. That's why I said earlier in this live, we need to have an honest conversation about the soft life in Black girl luxury. Because what we can't do is paint this picture like we're never going to go through anything and it's all easy peasy. We're going to have obstacles. The goal is to stay strapped up mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, to be able to handle those obstacles so that they don't literally ruin your life. But to the point where you're trying to avoid them altogether is not realistic. So if I mean, if she is trying to move this way, thinking that she's gonna get this amazing man, it's just, mm, good luck. I ain't never heard of that.
Stringing him along. I'm not straying away from commitment. He simply said he wants to still spend time with me so that we can have these conversations. So I'm just not understanding how that's me doing him like how the black guy is doing me. Can you please elaborate? Somebody is missing something.
So, referring to the comment and to what you ladies were saying, this is equivalent to what the black man is doing because a lot of black women actually go through this situation. A lot of black women play the role that this white guy is playing to her. A lot of black women will who know they want commitment will say to a black man that doesn't want to commit to her, "Oh, it's okay. We can still well, I still want to hang out with you. Let's still continue to hang out." She's doing that cuz she's having hope that the black man will change his mind and try to commit to her at some point. And what do we tell each other all the time in these spaces is do not wait and hope for a man to change. It's not going to happen. If he was not trying to commit to you, the likelihood of it happening later is very slim and you are wasting your own time. So maybe the white man that she's with after that, if he still wants to hang out and spend his resources on a woman that told him to his face, "I don't want to be with you," if he still wants to do that, I would check that white man and does that white man have some low self-esteem? I would to be honest, I want a man who will yes, offer and pursue, but also knows when to retreat. Also knows when this woman is obviously doesn't want to be with me, let me leave her alone. I think if both men and women did that, if black women did that to black men, stop sticking around black men that don't want to be with you. Other men did the same, stop sticking around women that don't want to be with you. I think a lot of people would be able to find each other a lot easier and create better relationships because they wouldn't have their attention on someone who makes it clear that they don't want them. That is what I'm saying. Okay. This girl right here, she's saying one thing but doing another. She's confused. She's double minded. She doesn't really want to be with a white man. Clearly, she wants to be with a black man, and she is keeping the black man as a placeholder, as something fun, as something to do to take her out. Because she is still holding out for that black man that is not committing to her, and she said so in her first video that he's not trying to be with you. That black man does not want you. He has made it clear to you. You have a man who wants you, and now you're finding excuses. That's another thing I notice a lot of women doing. They can say this man has baggage, something this, something that, and it's just like, is it really that bad, sis? Because first of all, the perfect man doesn't exist. If he did something, does he have a child or something like that? Like I don't know. Like what is this baggage? I wish she would go more into that, but she didn't. Um, but, she is, I can't. I don't even know, but a lot of women I find do this. They will, like, make excuses, bring up anything under the sun, actually look for something wrong in a guy just to make that as an excuse to not be with him because he's not really the guy that she wants. But at the same time, she's not strong enough to just let him go. She really needs this attention, this validation, and she just looks foolish and she's playing games. And this is not true feminine behavior. This is not true healed, mature, womanly behavior. This is immature, little girl, look at me, cater to me type of behavior. And that is not, I mean, if you're trying to have something serious, if you're trying to have something serious, what she says in other TikToks, she's trying to have something serious. That's not how you do it. Like, you can't be both. If you wanna date to date, that's fine, but if you're dating and at the same time still if you're dating just to date, but then at the same time expecting your husband to walk in the door or something like that, it just doesn't work like that. Are you dating to be married or are you dating just to date? Which one? You can't combine the 2, okay? You can't combine the 2. You gotta date with intention. You gotta date with purpose. You have to find out what if you're not dating for marriage, that's fine. Not everyone has to get married. I'm a pro marriage channel. I'm pro traditional Black woman. Like I've said plenty of times before, I think a lot of Black women can benefit from having a healthy marriage in their life. And I advocate for that. And I'm for the Black women that want that as well. So that, once again, that's just what I'm for. I understand it's not for everybody. That's perfectly fine. But I'm just saying. And but you can't combine the two without kind of looking foolish, without not keeping it real. Like you can't date just to date and then still expect a husband. It's like, are you dating to actually have your husband revealed? And if you are, then that means you're vetting properly, right? That means you're actually not going to accept dates, flowers, and gifts from men you say out of your mouth are just not good enough for you. That means all of that. If you're dating to have your husband revealed, you're moving accordingly. You're not just out here gone with the wind going with what feels good and then expect to wake up walking down the aisle. That's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. Not in this way, okay? Let's see here. So it's just weird to me. It's just weird to me how she just is complaining about black men not doing this for her, dating outside of her race, right? Which is usually what we tell each other to do if you're consistently getting lackluster results. And then you do so and you're still playing games. Not only like you're playing the games that black men played on you. It's weird. But, I got into all of that because we were talking about the John Boyega dating within his race and how normal it is for people to still want other people. I mean, for how normal it is for people to want to date within their race. That's normal. That's not a shock. But stuff like this is abnormal. For you to basically be on the same page that you want to date within your race and you're using people of other groups as a placeholder or to play games until your kingdom person of your own community comes through, and it's just not going to work that way. It's not going to work that way at all. But you guys can check that out on her channel. Michelle says, "What exactly is the white man getting out of this situation with this girl? He wants to continue to see her after she told him that she doesn't want a future with him." That's what I'm saying. Like, what is he gaining? He's not gaining anything. So I don't know. I don't know this. Look, all we know is what she talks about when it comes to this white guy, and maybe he doesn't have the options. He don't got it going on. I don't know. I don't know why he's sticking with her. That is a sign of weakness within him, within anyone. If you stay with someone that says, "I don't want you," and you're staying, that is a sign of weakness that needs to be checked. And I think along this journey of black women dating out and exploring their options, I think we do need to hold each other accountable and call out these things because if we're gonna, if black women are gonna do this, and are going to take this step in opening up your options, it cannot be done foolishly. Like this is other people's time you're playing with. We're grown, so it's like people don't have the time to waste. They think that they do, but they technically don't. They think that they do maybe because they're not in tune with what they really got going on. So they just think they have all this time to waste. No, they don't. So I would not encourage this. That is not the type of stuff I encourage on my channel. I encourage women keeping it real, staying true to yourself, paying attention to what is not making you feel good and leaving. This is how a lot of women get caught in these horrible situations. They already know this it's not what they want, but they stay anyway out of boredom, out of for the sake of getting free stuff, for attention, and then sooner or later you get got because eventually you don't really want the man. So he's not going to you're not going to give him what he wants at the end of the day because you never really wanted him. And then this is how stuff gets started. You know what I mean? These men get crazy on some of these girls. And I'm not trying to make excuses for the guy. Obviously, it's wrong no matter what. No guy should be doing that. But if you want to avoid even getting set up for anything like that to happen, stop going places where you technically don't want to be there. Like, that is some people pleasing type of mentality. She should have never asked that white man, "Do you want to continue to see each other?" Why are you asking someone if they want to continue to see you after you just told them to their face that they're not who you want to be with? What the hell? I That is so weird to me. Like, what in the world? Bridget says, "I would rather she just stay in the Black community." Yeah. I mean, hello? Like, what's the point? It is so weird. There's a lot of Black women that do that too. They will date out for the sake of dating out and waste these other guys' time, but at the end of the day, they still want this Black man. And once again, it is normal to want someone of your own group, but it is not normal and or acceptable for you to waste time of other people who don't meet that standard or just aren't that in general. Black women are used to Black men wasting our time, and it's sad. Yes. And it's like, now is it getting to the point where Black women are so used to having their time wasted by Black men that you find it okay and acceptable to go to another community and do the same? Like, this is crazy. I just can't. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it here. I'll talk to you ladies in the next one. Make sure to like this video, subscribe if you're a first time listener, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss it when I go live. I will leave this live up so you guys can catch the replay and comment down below your thoughts on Women King, Little Mermaid, the John Boyega announcing his preferences for dating in your race, and what you ladies think of the games that are being played dating outside your race. Just let's talk about it in the comments, and I will talk to you ladies later. Have a good rest of your Friday and have a great weekend.